Mesa Verde, and happy Cinco de Mayo. So today, in honor of Cinco de Mayo, we're talking tequila. So tequila, distilled spirit made from blue agave, comes from Mexico. So way back in the day, the local people who lived in the area would make something they called mezcal. Their version of mezcal is not what we think of as mezcal today. It was essentially a beer that they made using the center of the agave plant, the part that they call the piña. Same word they use for pineapple. It looks kind of like a pineapple when you see all the stem parts of the agave cut off. It really does. The Spanish came, they conquered what is now Mexico, and they brought with them distillation. So they started distilling the local mezcal into what we know more or less as mezcal today. One part of Mexico, though, called Jalisco, has a local type of agave, blue agave, or agave azul, which they found had a little bit of a different quality than the other agave. And they started making what they end up calling mezcal wine there. In the 1660s, they founded a town that they would later call Tequila. So at the time, the mezcal they made around the city of Tequila was called mezcal wine, while mezcal everywhere else was just called mezcal. It wasn't until the mid-1800s that they actually started calling it tequila. So tequila is a mezcal from Jalisco, made with blue agave. That is the key, the blue agave. In the 1970s, Mexico protected the name tequila. They made it a state-owned name, so anybody could use it as long as they were doing the proper things in their distillation process, aging process, and using the proper ingredients from Jalisco. So it's geographically protected, and it is a protected spirit. And the United States recognizes that. So only Mexican tequila is the only type of tequila you'll ever see in the United States legally. Now we got all that stuff out of the way. It's broken down into two types. You have your 100% blue agave, 100% agave azul, or agave de azul, and then you have your mixto. Your mixto is at least 51% blue agave. This is what you think of as like Jose Cuervo Especial. Usually it's that intro tequila a lot of people have bad memories of in college, one too many shots, things like that. So Jose Cuervo Especial is 51% agave, and the other 49% they actually use is rum. With the 100% blue agave, they further have an aging process. So you have your blanco or plato, which means silver or white. That is unaged, pretty straightforward, fresh from the still, thrown in a bottle. Then you have your reposado, which means rested. It's aged for a minimum of 2 months in oak barrels of any size and no more than a year. So 2 months to a year. Then you have your añejo and your extra añejo. Añejo just means aged, so aged, extra aged. These must be aged for 1 to 3 years in añejo, 3 years plus in extra añejo. Now, the thing about the añejos and the extra añejos is they must be aged in small oak barrels. So the size of the barrel does actually play a big factor in the flavor you get and the color you get. When it comes to the barrel, if it's a smaller barrel, there's more liquid in contact with the barrel, so it leaches more flavor, more color, more aroma, all the things you want from the barrel. However, if you have a large barrel, there's a lot of liquid in the center and very little in contact in comparison. So before we start talking about some of the fun mixed drinks you can have with tequila, I want to clear up one thing. There's no worm in tequila. The worm that a lot of people think of is actually in mezcal, specifically from the region of Oaxaca. It's a marketing gimmick. The worm is not a worm. It's a larva of a moth that lays its eggs in the center of the agave. When they find the agave infested with larvae, it's deemed super subpar, bad quality, and most of the time they don't use it to make mezcal. Somebody thought of, well, let's use it to make this mezcal. We put one of the larvae in, and we sell it that way. So if you're drinking mezcal with a worm in it, or the larva, or you're drinking mezcal with one of those little larvae in it, it's not good quality. You're paying extra money for cheap product. To make a margarita a real traditional simple margarita, you only need a couple of things. So first thing you want to do, salt the glass. Got to get the glass ready ahead of time. If you don't like salt on your glass, you can just skip this step. The key to salting your glass properly is to not get the lime on the inside of the glass. You want the salt to stick on the outside, so you rub the lime along the exterior of the glass so the salt is along the rim. Next thing you want to do, build your margarita. Get a shaker, fill it up with ice. You're gonna add 4 ounces of tequila. I like a nice reposado tequila. It adds more flavor than a blanco, but you don't need to use an añejo in a cocktail. Añejo is more of your sipping tequilas. Then your 2 ounces of your orange liqueur, triple sec in our case, followed by an ounce and a half or about 2 ounces, or an ounce and a half or about 2 limes worth of fresh lime juice. There's the key, fresh lime juice. Shake it all up and strain it over fresh ice in your salted glass. Now, you're ready to have a margarita, or maybe you're just not a big fan of margaritas, you want to do something else. One of the other most popular drinks for tequila, it's actually more popular in Mexico for the locals than a margarita, is a paloma. Paloma is also known as the working man's drink. So you can either salt it, if you like, with tajin or regular salt, adds different flavor characteristics to it, personal preference. So the first thing you do, you take your Collins glass, you fill it up with ice. 2 ounces tequila, you juice your half lime, then you add about 2 ounces of grapefruit juice, 2 ounces of club soda, however much it takes to fill up the glass, equal parts grapefruit juice, club soda. Stick a straw on it, drink. All right, Mesa Verde, now it's your turn. Show us your margarita or your paloma, however you like to drink tequila this Cinco de Mayo. Send all your videos and photos to kate@mesaverdecc.com. Until next time.